You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. Whoa, you've hid your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings and rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings and rise from the ashes.
Electric Boogaloo.
You see the truth behind the veil, and you know that they're just looking for attention. Oh, you don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings and rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Bittersweet and I'm walking slow. Sensitive, feel the afterglow. Looking for things that I can't control. Fear from my past, cause it always shows. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. But every time it comes back to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it.
Hello everyone and welcome to the GameWeek 17 team selection team. Hope it's all going well with you guys. Obviously there's a lot of drama at the moment with the postponed fixture due to COVID, but we are going to try and navigate that through this stream and see how we go for the upcoming game week. The reason we are doing a team selection live stream this week instead of a normal video is because of the quick turnaround in match fixtures and all that sort of stuff. There's only 3 days we've got to make content with, and we missed out on one of the days because of work. So now we are back to do a team selection stream. It's the first on this channel, but we're going to go through same sort of format as team selection, go through our points and our team for next game week. As I said in the pinned comment on the chat, subscribe if you haven't yet. 50 subs away from 7k. We love to hit it. You guys have been smashing the sub goals recently, so I appreciate it all. Alright, so answering some questions in the chat, is the Man U game getting postponed? Yes, Man U Brentford has been postponed. And in terms of Spurs Leicester, haven't heard anything about that at the minute, but there is potential for the City game and also Brighton versus Wolves, because there was a couple of instances with the Brighton side, I believe, which could get that game postponed, but nothing confirmed there either. So the only one confirmed postponed is the United Brentford at the minute. FPL Aiden says, hello mate. No worries, bro. Thanks, man. Yeah, all good. Hey, Aiden, how's it going, bro? Yes, so, as you can see here, we did record 68 points in Game Week 16, which we thought wasn't a bad score, but apparently not good enough. And we take the red arrow this week, which is actually our third red arrow in a row, where we've actually scored like above the average, but still like significantly above the average, but taken the red arrows. Also, guys, let us know how you got on in Game Week 16, because it was an interesting game week. Robertson or Diaz? I mean, if you've already got, I'm assuming you've already got Trent and Cancelo, in which case I'd just go for Robertson because he's more attacking than Diaz. Is it safe to triple captain Salah this week? I mean, it's not a bad play. I don't know. Like, he should start, but it's not a very big game for Liverpool. They should get the win. He could come off the bench potentially. But I think you just wait for a double game and it could be safer. Looking at Twitter at the minute, I'm always scouting to see any fixture postponements. And I think just the key tip, guys, this week is just to hold the transfers as late as possible before the deadline. If you look at the game week deadline, 5:15, so it's a fair way away. But we thought we'd get this stream out mainly to do team selection and discuss a couple of things with the upcoming game week and just fix your postponements. FPL Aiden, would you do Ronaldo to Watkins for a free transfer? It's not a bad idea, except Ronaldo should definitely be good to go for the weekend's games as well. In which case, it's not a bad hold. I think the big mistake this week could just be selling all the players that you have fixtures missing all for this week, and then you screw yourself over for the upcoming weeks as well. So, potentially hold there. Got 85 points last week, though currently no Ronaldo, De Gea or Tony already this week. Yeah, it's not ideal, but 85 points is huge. That's definitely a solid green arrow. Should I bring in Tomiyasu and Gabriel in place of Rudiger and Reece? I'd leave one of the Chelsea defenders, but I think we've got Ben White at the moment, and he's just getting clean sheets for us, which is so good, as he's a pretty differential player as well. And I think Arsenal's defence is slightly going under the radar. Yeshi, recommendation to replace Rafinha if their game gets cancelled apart from Bowen. You could go Gallagher depending on his positioning. It's a bit risky though because you never know. Maddison's okay, but he's got difficult fixtures. I think Gallagher's not a bad idea. Otherwise, you could go to the likes of a Gundogan, a Bernardo, or Foden, depending on who you like from City there as well.
Ben Mendy.
Got 76 last week. Very nice score. Should I bring in Watkins for a -4? It just depends who it is for. Saleh. Alright, so with 20 people in the stream, let's have a look at how we got on in Game Week 16. So that's, as you see, 68 points. We did take a -4 as well, because I believe we had Tony, who was out, Rafinha, who had some difficult fixtures but also scored, and we also got rid of Gallagher as well because we weren't happy with his positioning. Of course, next game he goes and gets 15 points playing Cam instead of CDM, which he was playing for the previous 3 games. So definitely took an L on that transfer, but otherwise I wouldn't have played Rafinha. I would have benched him against Chelsea, so I think it doesn't matter that he got 7 points there. So here's the side. We didn't have Sanchez play either, so a lot of people had Ramsdale get 11 points, which is huge for them. If we had like a playing keeper went for Ramsdale, it would have been very nice for us. But Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Rudiger, White, a full house of returns in defence. Still not enough for us to get a green arrow. Jota got 1 point. Everyone captain Salah, he got 16. The new transfer, Bernardo, did well, 6 points. West Ham double up with Bowen and Antonio, both blanked. And Dennis, the decision to go for Dennis over King did pay off. We were going slightly against the numbers there, but I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes when a player's just putting the points on the board, you just go for them. Dennis 9, and on the bench, Livramento, Sissoko, and then there's Tony. So we did, we held Tony, my bad, and we used 3 transfers to bring in Bowen, Bernardo, and we got rid of Kane. We put in Antonio for Kane. So not the worst score, 68 points. Still took around like a 40k green arrow, I believe, which is quite harsh because I would have considered 68 not too bad.
You said green arrow, not red arrow.
Red arrow, my bad. And Sanchez, he's the team for the this week. At the moment, no changes. There has just been a formation change because Tony out and Cancelo out as well, which is obviously not great for us. But I think Cancelo is a fairly high-end player. It doesn't really matter that he's missing a fixture this week. Sanchez in goals against Wolves at home. I feel like this game's just got 0-0 written all over it, or an extremely low-scoring game. So there is potential there for a clean sheet. Trent, Newcastle at home. Doesn't get much better than that in terms of fixtures. Arsenal defence has got West Ham at home, which is a tricky fixture because West Ham could hit them on the counter. I'm not expecting too much here. Hopefully Rudiger can start against Everton. He just seems to be starting every game. And Livramento, he is listed as starting at the minute. We're just being hopeful that he can start. He's only 75% chance. He's got a gashed leg. Just sounds quite nasty, but the bench depth obviously has been depleted this week. We've just got Sissoko sitting in the first bench spot. So even if Livramento doesn't play, we're going to have Sissoko come on. So we'll still hopefully have 10 to 11 starting players, depending on other fixture postponements. Whether the Brighton game gets postponed and also the Man City game, we'll have to see. But we're being hopeful the minute that Livramento can start. It's closer to 50-50, I think, with him. Jota, Salah, Newcastle at home. No need to remove them. Bernardo, obviously, there at the moment against Leeds at home. I'm hoping that game doesn't get postponed, because that is looking like a very promising fixture from an attacking standpoint for City. I think they could score a few goals in this game. Bowen, Arsenal away is not the worst fixture going around. Dennis, Burnley away is also not too bad. And then Antonio as well against Arsenal away. Bowen actually looked fairly decent in Game Week 16. He had a couple of times where he was sort of in behind and wasn't played in. And took a lot of corners, took a couple of shots as well. So I was pretty happy with his performance. I think there will be points coming for him in the upcoming weeks. Guehi or Livramento, I'm assuming to start. I'm hopeful of Livramento. Who have Palace got this week? They've got Southampton, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's difficult to say. Maybe Livramento because he probably offers slightly more attacking potential. Got 70 points last week and still got knocked out of the cup. Well, that's unlucky, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the cup's not a big deal, to be honest, but
Are we in the cup?
I actually haven't checked whether we've been knocked out of the cup yet or not. I'm assuming 68 points wasn't enough, but we'll have to see.
Can you check now?
What happens if we win the cup? You just keep going to the next round, and then it essentially just gets down to one FPL player. So every game week there's a new round, and you just keep going until you lose.
If you win, you get tickets to a PL Game Plus merch.
Do you? Oh, that's class. I have De Gea. We'll take a -4 to get a playing keeper. If so, who? I think for a keeper, it's probably not worth taking a -4 because essentially, if the team gets a clean sheet, then it just takes away the clean sheets. You get 2 points. It's probably not worth it, especially considering De Gea is going to play on the weekend and is going to have more returns than whichever keeper you bring in. As my opinion. Ramsdale, if you had to choose one, I guess so. But ideally, it's save the -4. I reckon Livramento starts. As I said before, a bit iffy, and hopefully does. Do I use my free hit? Got about 6 players out injured and postponed. That is quite severe. I mean, 6 players out, free hits are definitely on the table, I think, at that point, if you've got a monstrous amount of players out. Will I switch Foster for Ramsdale as De Gea has a high run of fixtures? As De Gea, he's saying De Gea has a high run of fixtures. I think De Gea's fixtures are pretty good coming up.
Yeah, they're
Mount and Jesus or Bernardo and Watkins to replace Ronaldo and Brownhill. I'm liking Bernardo and Watkins there. There are rumours that City game may get postponed. Yeah, there's rumours about City game and also Brighton game with a couple of Brighton players. Or not players, but staff and just news around the club. There could be COVID there as well. So just keep posted on those. I'm looking at Twitter just to try and stay up to date while streaming, which can be tricky at times, but we'll manage. I did a -8 for 2 injured players, and now Ronaldo should take another hit. Haven't taken a hit all season, so that means it's going to be a -12. As I said before, a -4 for Ronaldo, and then he's just going to be playing next week. I think it's sort of like the situation with Cancelo. He's got such good fixtures coming up, and he has been in decent form at the minute. It's probably not worth getting rid of him just for 1 week. Cheers for the input, mate. No worries. No Rafinha. No, we got rid of Rafinha. How's it going, Faz? Now we got rid of Rafinha this week, actually, and he got 7 points, but we would have benched him anyway, so not too worried about that. If some games get postponed, will you do a free hit? I think luckily for us, the games that are in doubt at the minute is Brighton Wolves and City Leeds. Luckily for us, we only have 2 players in total from those games, so hopefully Livramento plays. If he doesn't play, Sissoko will come off the bench. That means we're going to have 9 players playing, which is still not the worst. So I think we should be okay to go without a free hit this week, because I think at the very worst situation, we'll still have 9 players playing, which is feasible. It is feasible. We've gone 2 weeks this year with 10 players playing because of Sanchez. Do I hold Cornet? He plays Watford and Everton soon, so skeptical on selling him. Depends if he's available, and I'm not sure about his injury news. If anyone has injury news on Cornet, like whether he's going to be back or not. Best budget mid. Well, depending on price, I think Bowen's not bad at the moment. He's definitely I know he's considered budget at 6.5. That's fairly cheap. Bernardo there as well is good. You could go for an Arsenal midfielder, like if likes of Saka or Smith Rowe come into good form. Also not a bad shout as the budget mid, and also if Gallagher can play cam consistently. So yeah, just probably go those 4. I have a Spurs defender playing for Ronaldo or Allen from Everton. Well, we know Ronaldo for sure isn't playing, so just play him instead of Ronaldo and just take Allen's points, because Allen should be playing, hopefully. Benrahma to Mount. That's not the worst transfer in the world, to be honest. We can have a look at Chelsea's fixtures. I mean, it's not bad. I think regardless of whether they're grey or not, they're really not grey for Chelsea. I think Chelsea is the hard fixture. And Mount's been in very nice form. So it could be a good call. I do agree. Sean Dyche going to take a last minute decision on him. Yeah, okay, interesting. I think, what do you say, he's got Watford and Everton soon. Yeah, I think with the amount of fixtures getting postponed and the uncertainty, it could be worthwhile holding on to the players that are likely to play or a decent shout of playing. I think the transfer priority should be players that are 100% not playing and you've wanted to get rid of them anyway, or out free, like at least 2 game weeks. I think that's just got to be the mindset in terms of transfers this week with this many things happening and like player injuries and postponements. I think it's just have the priority transfers and players that are confirmed not playing or missing a couple of weeks. Someone around 4 mil to replace Embuemo so I can get in Ramsdale for McCarthy. Replacement. Well, you can't get any midfielder for 4 mil. You got the cheapest at like 4.4, 4.5. So whichever midfielder is sitting at that price at the moment, I don't know whether it's Brownhill or Alan, roughly around there. How much is Sissoko? I think he's probably still 4.5, yeah. You can only go for a 4.5 mid at the minute. But I mean, at this point, I'm pretty happy with the team. It's not the worst. It's not the best team in the world, having to start Livramento by any stretch of the imagination. But considering the other fixtures, I think our team's gotten pretty lucky. And I think a lot of other people have had like 3, 4, maybe even more players missing. So with the team selection there, let's have a look at the predicted lineups by Fantasy Football Fix. These guys are pretty good at getting the lineups right. We'll have a look at this evening's games. Norwich Villa. They've got Krul, Aarons, Kabak, Gibson, Williams, Gilmore, Lees, Malou, McLean, Sargent, Timu, and Cantwell. It'd be good to see him back if he can start. He will be a good addition to that Norwich side. Amansi, Leeds, Edison, Kyle Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko. They've got De Bruyne at an 85% chance to start. That's interesting. Along with Bernardo Silva and Rodrigo, or Rodri. Sterling, Jesus, and Grealish is the predicted front 3. They've actually only got Sterling at a 54% chance to start. Mahrez there at a 16% chance to start. So I don't think many people have Sterling, but the main thing is that De Bruyne should be starting according to them. Leeds, any injury news? Jack Harrison potentially not playing. Rafinha's at 100%. And Bamford not good enough to play in this game. Not fit enough to play in this game. I want to send you my information, so could you give me advice? Well, you can always just DM us on Instagram and Twitter. If you have like specific questions or you just want to chat about FPL. Both those links are in the description if you want to check those out and just message us there. If you can't get your question answered on stream or end of the stream and there's a question you want to ask. Should I bring Gallagher back in for Rafinha from -4? I mean, if you've got no other transfers that you would like to make, and all those other transfers with players missing are taken care of, then it's not the worst play. I think Rafinha's still got a couple of difficult fixtures coming up. I think Leeds fixture on is nasty. But yeah, it's just whether Gallagher can consistently play Cam. He seems to be changing position every week, and his FPL points are totally dependent on whether he's playing CDM or Cam. Faz, how are you feeling about Lamptey when Brighton start playing again? Yeah, he's going to be a good shout as well. We can have a look at Brighton's fixtures real quick. Wolves United, not the best. Brentford, Chelsea. So ideally you wouldn't go for him in the next 4. But I do think from game week 21 onwards, with those fixtures, Everton, Palace, Leicester, Watford, Burnley, Villa, Newcastle, that run there could be a nice time for Lamptey. And I'm assuming there'll be a lot of managers with one cheaper defender. And if you've got 4 premium defenders, you could drop one of them down to Lamptey after the next 4 weeks if he's playing well, because he's obviously such an attacking beast. If not, in our case, we could just go Ben White or Livramento to Lamptey. So yeah, not a bad. I think once their fixtures swing, Lamptey's a good shout. I have Rafinha on my bench to give my bench boost points this week. Wow, you can play a bench boost this week. That's pretty impressive considering the amount of players that are out. If you've got a full playing bench this week, that's a fairly fortunate squad, I'd say. So I mean, that's decent. Obviously, bench boost is ideal for like double game weeks and stuff. But if you feel like there's fixtures there which are nice, obviously Rafinha's not got the greatest fixture this week, City away. But if you feel you got the strong bench, go for it, bro. Triple captain Salah. I mean, it's a decent fixture to do it. We're personally waiting for a double game week, but I mean, Newcastle at home is pretty decent from an attacking standpoint. They've conceded a lot of goals this year. What about Lacazette in for Antonio since Aubameyang is gone? A bit hesitant on those forwards for Arsenal at the minute. I think it's their midfield options in Saka and Smith Rowe and even Odegaard are the better players to go if you're going for an Arsenal attacker. But I still think Antonio's decent. Like, Arsenal away, it's an okay fixture. But look at this run here. Pretty much from now till game week 27. Norwich, Southampton, Watford as his next 3 after Arsenal. That is very nice. And the main reason his points have been restricted is because of the fixture run. This year I have 4.1 in the bank. Who to upgrade? Guaita, Steele, Rudiger, Alonso, Trent, White, Liverman. So Gallagher, Salah, Jota, Bernardo, Cornet, Watkins, Wilson. I mean, so you've got, was it 1 premium and then triple premium defense? Yeah, I think Huang is the guy that you go for as the upgrade. He's not going to be very playable over the coming weeks with Wolves fixtures, and he's not been... He actually didn't even start, I believe, the last 2 games for Wolves. So I think he's going to be the man that has to go. He's kind of at that awkward price with even 4.1 in the bank. You can't really do too much with him, because you can't go up to a huge premium. You can just go to like a 9 mil forward, which is not many at that price. So unless you feel comfortable with a Watford forward, like you could go for like a Dennis or a King. Probably a decent shout actually around the similar price to Huang. That'd be the ideal transfer for me in that team. Faz, I've gone for the triple captain on Salah. Oh, fair play. I mean, if you're going to send it this week, why not? It's a good fixture. He's playing at home. He's in great form. Hopefully he starts. I wouldn't really see why not, apart from the fact that he's not fully fit. But his game is fairly late in the game week, I believe. He's the last game. Yes, 7 a.m. on Friday. So you should have some decent recovery time. That's pretty much a full week of recovery, actually. So that's not bad. Yeah, so triple captain Salah. We're waiting for a double game week, but Newcastle at home's a great shout. Who is the best possible attacking defender to replace Semedo? I'm assuming you mean like at a similar price. I mean, as we touched on before, Lamptey in like 4 weeks will be good. Right now, tough to say. You could go for an Arsenal defender in like Tomiyasu or someone like that, because Arsenal Leeds away, Norwich away, Wolves at home. Wolves have only scored 1 goal in the last 6 weeks, so I don't think that's going to be too difficult for a clean sheet there potentially for Arsenal. And Leeds and Norwich are obviously 2 good fixtures as well. They have got City and Spurs in the mix there, but otherwise a fairly strong fixture run. Well, for a very good batch of the season, actually. They've only got West Ham, City, Liverpool. That's their 3 tough matches up until game week 33. Not a bad option. What are your thoughts on Ronaldo? Hold or sell? I'd be a hold. If I own Ronaldo right now, I would hold him, and I'd just bring him back, start him again the week after, because we've got Cancelo on the bench. We're just happy to bench Cancelo this week, because obviously he's got the injury, the card suspension. We're just happy to have him on the bench this week and then bring him back after. And I think Ronaldo's sort of in a similar basket where he's that good of an FPL asset at the moment. You just bench him. Is Gelhardt a good buy at 4.5 for the bench, or will he get minutes? Well, Faz, what are you going to... Well, Faz, the Leeds fan. Gelhardt or Fatty will not get many minutes constantly, especially when Bamford comes back. That's true. That's facts right there. Sure, Huang to King. It is then. Dennis is a fraud. Started hauling after I sold him, so not going to buy him again. Well, fair enough, Disha. I mean, King's produced better numbers than him, so No reason why you shouldn't go for him. I've got Darlow, De Gea, and Ronaldo. What should I do? I don't really have starters on the bench as well. Tough decision. I think if you're going to keep one of those United assets, it'd be Ronaldo. Get back to me on what your bench is. If you've got a decent sub keeper for De Gea, then I just go Darlow out. Pretty much whoever you've got good replacements for. You don't have to worry about them. I also have Huang. I would like to replace. Who was the best cheap striker to replace him? Definitely either Dennis or King at the moment, I believe, are the best cheap strikers. I think who you go for out of those two just depends. I think a lot of people have a mixed opinion on who to go for. They're both very good picks, though. What to do with De Gea? Take him out for a hit. I'd probably hold De Gea as well. I think mainly because he's a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers don't generally haul huge points. You can probably just tank the points in goals for 1 week. Unless you're like us and tank the points with Sanchez for 1 week and then Ramsdale gets 11 points, which is quite unlucky. But I think that shouldn't happen again. It should be all good to just tank the points with your goalkeeper this week. What are your moves? At the minute, we haven't made any moves. We've got 1 free transfer because we made 3 transfers last week. I don't think we're going to make a transfer this game. I wouldn't really know exactly who to bring into the side. I think the team's decent enough at the moment. I wouldn't bring in another Chelsea defender. We've got a lot of money in the bank. We've got a decent amount of money in the bank. But that is that at the minute. Otherwise, I think if we're going to get in anyone, we could go for an upgrade to a premium option. I also have Huang. I would like to replace. Who is the best cheap striker to replace him? King Dennis, Ronaldo, and Mount to Jota and Watkins. Not the worst idea. I think Jota's a good option, but Ronaldo and Mount are very good at the minute. I know Ronaldo's going to miss this week. But I think I'd probably hold Ronaldo and Mount also. Decent shout. Who is the best second keeper to put on my bench to get points? You could go for a Ramsdale or a Sanchez. They're fairly cheap keepers at the moment. Or Foster as well. But he's injured, I believe. Or not available. Sanchez to Ramsdale for a free transfer. I'd probably hold off that. I think goalkeeper transfers aren't the most ideal, and Sanchez has probably got a better fixture than Ramsdale this week. Ahmed says, hi, who would I play? Watkins or Walker? I have to choose. Hard to choose. Who should you play? I might go Watkins. Yeah, I might go Watkins just because of the doubt of the City game, whether it's going to go ahead. I have 0.6 in the bank and 1 free transfer. What are your thoughts on my team? Ramsdale, Foster, Trent, James, Rudiger, Livramento, Cancelo, Salah, Jota, Rafinha, Smith Rowe, Brownhill, Antonio King. Not a bad team. I mean, I wouldn't really make too many transfers with this team in a minute. I think it's a fairly solid all-round side. I just rolled the transfer. Don't you reckon Ramsdale is better value than Sanchez? Well, he's probably a better option, right? But if you're going to use a transfer, it's not the most priority transfer, especially at the moment with the postponed fixtures. Personally, I'm not a huge fan on goalkeeper transfers, and I think just based on this week, I think Sanchez is probably the better option. So I wouldn't really want to use a transfer, which is essentially valued at 4 points. Alright lads, so we're going to change onto the app for the FPL website because there has been some issues with signing into on the website. So we'll hop onto the FPL actual app and go from there. Roll and have Livramento on the starting line. I'll do Tony to Watkins, bench Livramento. We're pretty much in exactly the same position as you, Josh, and our call has been just to roll and then have Livramento in the starting 11. Arsenal defence has been very solid. No doubt that... beautiful. Got the team up now. No doubt that Ramsdale is a better option than Sanchez. But for our team personally, we've already got Ben White as the Arsenal defensive asset. And I think going double up on Arsenal may be a bit overkill, especially in defence. So I'm more than happy just to stick with Sanchez. But I definitely see what you're saying. Like, Arsenal's defence has probably been on better form than Brighton's. And Ramsdale's probably got higher points potential than Sanchez, but for our team personally, I do think Sanchez is the better shout. Thanks, cheers, mate. Good luck for Game Week 17. Thank you very much. Yeah, and we'll just good luck for everyone in general for Game Week 17 because it could be a cooked one if more fixtures get postponed last minute. Tony to Watkins and Ings, or Rafinha to Foden and Bernardo Silva. It's difficult. Maybe Rafinha to Bernardo Silva could be the play. In terms of form, Bernardo Silva has been better than Watkins, and Tony at least will be usable after this week. Whereas Rafinha's still got 3 weeks, I believe, of difficult fixtures after this. Who between these three instead of Livramento, Tierney, Tomiyasu, Soufal? I'm actually liking Soufal at the minute. Looking at West Ham's fixtures. Plot Bones through full profile. They've got Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Palace. Very nice fixtures. I do think he's one that's going under the radar. And he's a very good FPL asset. So I think Soufal is a nice differential there. Cheers, thanks mate, no worries. All good. Bench Son. Well, we can have a look at the fixtures if you can pull up the FDR. This might be easier just to use because we've got all the fixtures with us right here. Spurs, Leicester away. I mean, that's not a bad fixture actually. Leicester, in terms of their defensive form, has been a bit off. Especially at home, actually. I've found they've conceded a fairly decent amount of goals recently, so I wouldn't necessarily bench Son. Besides the possible COVID postpones, how likely is Gundogan to play? Good question. I'll use the fix predictor lineup tools. Man City v Leeds. Okay. So for Man City, they've got Gundogan at a 62% chance to start. But they think the starting three is going to be De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Rodri in the midfield, then Sterling, Jesus, Grealish. So it's just whether he starts instead of one of those players. I do think at a 62% chance, according to them, you obviously would expect him to play. And he's been in good form at the moment as well. I think the main competition for his place will be with Kevin De Bruyne. Or even Bernardo Silva. It could be time for him to get benched because he's played a lot of games in the Prem recently. Personally, I think Gundogan will start though. If I had to give it a definitive answer. Is swapping Foden to Bernardo a good move? It's okay. It's not the most ideal move. But I think Foden's still been fairly decent. Foden's got a 43% chance to start. They got Bernardo at a 71% chance. Probably Bernardo is more likely to play, but I think it's not the best transfer in the world. And if Foden starts, then he's definitely a good shout. So lads, since this was the team selection stream, we will most likely wrap this stream up in the next couple of minutes, and we'll actually go live again in 30 minutes time with a deadline stream, where instead of talking about my team, we go exclusively on questions around postponements and general questions in the chat and stuff. So yes, if you guys have any final things you want to add, drop them in the chat now. Otherwise, we'll be going live again in 30 minutes with essentially what will be a deadline stream where we can focus more on our postponements and all that stuff. So thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in so far to the stream. If we can try and get the stream to 30 likes, we're on 22 at the moment. We've got nearly 40 people watching. Can we try and get the stream to 30 likes before we end it now? That is nice whispers, Ben. Deadline extended by 15 minutes, by the way. Okay, thank you, mate. That's useful information.
Not really.
But yeah, with time difference for where we are at this current stage, I mean, it's fairly inconsequential for us because I believe the deadline is 5:15 a.m.
It's 11 o'clock p.m. our time.
Hazard got the last question on the stream. Do I keep Rashford or go for Man City mids? I go for a City mid, I reckon, is what I do. Alright guys, so as I said before, 30 minutes from now at around whatever time it is, 11:15. Yes, 11:15 AEST. Convert that to wherever you guys are now. It was most likely when we're going to be doing a deadline stream where we can focus on postponements and questions that you guys have. So thank you for everyone that has tuned into the team selection stream. And hopefully we'll see you in 30 minutes time. Otherwise, if I don't catch you, good luck for the upcoming game week. And with that being said, I'll see you guys